All right, good evening, everybody. I'll call the meeting to order. If I could get a roll call, Marcy?
You bet. We have Jeff. See
Here.
Lexi. John.
Here.
Justin.
Here.
So we're just missing Brian. He's in, Iraq.
Yes, he is. Thank you. I'd like to move the report from Dustin at Bergen KDV to after the consent agenda. We'll go ahead and get that approved and then move him there and approve the agenda with that change.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with change.
A second.
Who is the second?
John.
John.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind saying John second, Justin, make a motion. That might help you out too, because I'm going to have my screen I can't see y'all at the same time.
All right. I'll open. Is anyone else online, Marcy?
I don't see anyone else. Nope. And do you
open
all
up
see the
for-
PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So no citizen comment. We'll close that at this time. And then consent agenda. Anyone have any questions there?
Justin, make a motion to
I'll make
approve the consent agenda.
John will second.
We'll need a vote.
John, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, aye.
Lexi, I.
Consent agenda approved. We will now move on to Dustin to do his presentation from Bergen KVD. Dustin, it's all yours.
Okay, I appreciate it. This kind of brings me back to the COVID meetings. I don't know how many of you were on council during that time, but yeah, this kind of brings me back. I don't know, a little nostalgic, I guess, but also thankful that it's all gone. All right. Well, thank you
Correct.
so much for having me. My name is Dustin Opatz from Bergen KDV. I was the lead auditor this year for the first year with us, and yeah, Marcy, do you just want to click to the different screens as I go through stuff?
Yeah, that'd be great. If you just let me know, I'm on page 2 right now. So just let me
Yeah.
know when to go to the next page and that'd be great.
Deal. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to interrupt me. I have such a passion for city finance that if nobody stops me, I'll just blow through the entire presentation. If you don't want to interrupt me, we can definitely catch all your questions at the end too. Either way works for me. So the very first thing I wanted to talk through was the different reports that we issue. So the first one being the independent auditor's report. It's probably the most important report we issue. It's essentially what you pay us for, is to express an opinion on your financial statements. So I always like to start off saying that you as management are responsible for the financial statements. You're responsible for recording all your transactions appropriately. And then it's our responsibility as your auditors to come in and express an opinion on those financial statements, test, examine, all that good stuff. So we do express an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion we're allowed to give as your auditors. It provides assurance that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects on the cash basis of accounting. Since you are cash basis, and that's an allowable basis of accounting under Iowa code. The next report that we issue is government auditing standards report. So because of the level of grant funding you receive, we are required to look a little bit closer at your compliance laws, contracts, grant agreements, and internal controls. So we did have one material weakness, which is the highest level finding that we give. It's related to the lack of segregation of accounting duties. And it mostly boils down to just the few number of office staff that you have. So it's not that we're saying, staff is doing anything wrong or incorrect. It's just more of an awareness for you that you don't have a large office staff. And so you do have to take your responsibilities as council a little bit more seriously, and you might have to dig into the day-to-day stuff more than maybe a larger the council of a larger city might have to. Okay. And then the last report that we issue is the Iowa Code of Compliance report. So the state auditor gives us a series of checklists to check compliance with specific state statutes. And so we did have one finding related to that test work. You did have a deficit fund balance in your solid waste fund, which we'll see a little bit later, but it's something that we're required to put in writing. It's not necessarily something that we're concerned about, but again, we have to put it in writing. So if you want to go to the next slide. The next few slides look at your general fund. So this is kind of a high level overview. overall, your general fund cash balance did increase by about 427,000. What we like to do is we like to compare your fund balance policy and the goal in your fund balance policy to what your cash balance actually is. And so your unassigned fund balance policy calls for about 25% in those unassigned reserves. And at the end of the year, you had 1.2 million in unassigned fund balance, which equated to about 53%. So definitely in line with your fund balance policy and will hopefully give you, enough cushion for cash flow and all that good stuff. Next slide. Looks at receipts. So total receipts were about 2.3 million, which was a slight decrease from the last year. So your taxes increased related to an increase in your levy and increased hotel motel tax. Your intergovernmental revenues decreased due to receiving a fairly significant federal grant in FY22 that was more of a one-time thing. Charges for services decreased and use of money and property increased due to some reclassification with rental revenue. I'd Bailey, called it one thing. We're calling it a different category. So it's not that you received more or less money. It's just more of a reclassification. And then in addition to all of those receipts, the general fund did also receive transfers in of about 236,000. And next slide. On the disbursement side, so your total disbursements increased by about 27,000 to just under 2.1 million. General government disbursements decreased due to a reallocation of wages. And we'll see that a little later with water and sewer. You took some of your office staff time and you allocated that to other funds and departments. So the pressure from those on the general fund was decreased, right? So the public safety disbursements increased related to adding a full-time officer during the year. And then public works disbursements decreased related to a storm sewer repair done in the prior year. Next slide. The next couple of slides focus on your enterprise funds, which are your water, sewer, and solid waste. So we start one slide with operating income. And so this is purely operating revenues less operating expenditures. So it doesn't include debt service costs, it doesn't include capital project costs, and it doesn't include transfers in or transfers out to other funds. We purely want to look at is, are the operating revenues coming in enough to cover the operating expenditures to keep the utilities going. So in 2023, the water fund did have an operating income of about 277,000, which was a $50,000 decrease from last year. Part of that was that recoding of city hall staff salaries and allocating some of those costs to this fund. So in addition to those operating revenues and expenditures, there were $53,000 of capital project costs, as well as transfers out of just under 300,000. On the sewer side, the sewer had an operating income of 435,000, which was a decrease of about 69,000. That again was related to allocating some of those city hall staff salaries, and as well as additional costs related to that new wastewater treatment plant. So outside of operating activity, there were debt service disbursements of 370,000, capital project disbursements of 2.2 million as you finished up that project, and then you had additional bond proceeds of 872,000. Last but not least, the solid waste fund had a small operating loss. And it's that very bottom line of that chart, as you can see in all 4 years presented, it's had a small operating loss. So just again, not something we're necessarily concerned about, but just wanted to point your attention to. So outside of this operating activity, there were capital project disbursements of about 29,000 in this fund. Next slide. So this looks at the cash position for each of those funds. And so the blue bar is your water fund. So you can see that that's been pretty steady over the 4 years presented. The wild one, right, is the green, the sewer, just because you did have that large wastewater treatment plant. And so there was some significant bond proceeds in there. You can see that huge spike in 2021, and then that amount has slowly gone down as you've been building your plant. And so that fund will hopefully start to normalize here in the next year, and you can actually get a feel for how the operations will work after that plant comes online. And then the solid waste the solid waste is what ultimately generated that one legal compliance finding. So you can see it's that I can't even tell what color it is because it is so little on the chart. So this year with those capital costs, it did dip into the negative, causing that one legal compliance finding related to work on that compost station. That was all that was all the things I wanted to cover. This is how you would get a hold of me. We're definitely here throughout the year. If there's ever any questions we can answer for you or anything you ever have, if there's ever anything we can help you with, we're definitely here as a resource for the city.
Hey, Dustin, Russ, Bob, the mayor.
Yeah.
The question you brought up that we'll see those sewer funds normalized. What will that look like? Can you give us some idea on that when on the cash position, that last slide? We got that big spike and then it started coming down. Is that going to match up close to the water fund, or what should we expect that to look like?
That's a great question. And I'll be able to tell you more next year when I look at FY24
Okay.
activity.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it'll
I can speak a little bit to that too, so we have the Highway 20 lift station project that got done. So, right now some of those funds are still sitting in that fund. And then we have the last of the SRF reimbursement funds. So that'll kind of bring some of it, I think, back into being normal with transferring things in and out. That to me was like a big chunk of the sewer, because we had all that extra money from the lift station, which we're getting ready to transfer out with that reverse referendum. But then we also have, the SRF funds and the EDA grant money that we were waiting to come in. We expect to have the last SRF reimbursement soon. And then we took out that new SRF loan late last year to clear up the deficiency in that wastewater treatment project. So that'll help a little bit with trying to figure out, where the balances are in the sewer, and it'll even them out that way. And then from there going forward, it'll just be more of the income and expenses and debt service for those.
All right.
If that helps a little bit.
Yeah, just kind of wondering where to expect what we should be looking for next year. So.
Yeah, with those big projects, it's always tough because you obviously have all this new debt that you get to pay back, right? And so making sure that your utility rates are keeping pace with all of those additional expenses related to the debt can sometimes be a challenge. But yeah, like Marcy said, next year you'll hopefully be able to get a bearing for, how much does this wastewater treatment plant actually cost to run, and how much does this, you obviously know how much debt you have to pay back every year. So then you'll be able to true that up with what you're charging or what you're bringing in as far as receipts, and get a better feel for it. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a lot for you right now.
Yeah, no, that's fine, no problem.
And Heidi should be able to, we just had an analysis done because we had to take out a new loan. So Heidi did that analysis. So once we make some transfers for us, I think she can give us a better idea of some of those numbers too.
Sounds good. Anyone else have any
Marcy,
questions for Dustin?
Marcy, I've got a question here. That solid waste, is that garbage or is that the compost?
It's both combined. So technically our garbage fund isn't really an enterprise. It's, we contract it out, but the compost is where the expenses, come in. So I was kind of looking at what happened was we had that work done to the compost station. It was late, kind of came in late last year. And so we were over on our overall. So we took a negative because there was never a transfer budgeted to put money back into the garbage fund. Because obviously it's proprietary, right? We're not making enough money to cover that $30,000 for the compost station. So we just
it looks like we take a consistent loss of about $5 to $6 grand each year.
Yep. So the portion that's from that compost station, we're hopefully approving that transfer from the general fund to cover that tonight. And then what I'm working on right now is I'm working on the budget. I was actually working on it here before we started, is really going through and honing in like what are our incomes and what are our expenses, especially with the compost station, because we didn't increase garbage rates and we sent it out for RFP. Now we know what our new garbage rate is for the next few years, that we're going to need to look at increasing those garbage rates. And so when we go over the budget setting, we'll talk a little bit more about that so that we can at least try to break even, if not have a little extra for when we need to take, buy equipment and things like that out of that fund. Does that answer your question?
Perfect. That's exactly, I thought it was, I just wanted to confirm.
Yep, yeah, so Annette and I are working on it, and then we'll come up with kind of a figure of what we would recommend for looking at an increase for garbage rates for next year.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Cool, yep.
Mayor, I just want to take the opportunity to thank staff. I think we did a fantastic job this year, being, relatively new staffing and having a new auditor come on board. So kudos to Marcy and kudos to everybody else in the office.
Yes, congratulations and thank you for your efforts, everyone.
Yeah, and thanks, Dustin. They made it pretty easy. They didn't
Oh, good. Good to
just
hear.
work too hard. I mean,
All right, we try to beat you up a little bit, but yeah, hopefully not make it too hard. But yeah, we're very appreciative of all
first
the
year.
work you
Anyway.
did and taking care of us.
All right, I think we're good here, Dustin. If you want to head out, hit the brewery or whatever you're going to do.
Okay, it sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Dustin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we've got the Parks and Rec, Police, Public Works. I did give them all the night off. Dean, especially with those guys out plowing, no need to come in. Take a look at the monthly reports that they've provided. If you have questions, you can reach out individually to each of them, or if you think a better answer might come, through a net or something, do that. I didn't see anything that needed any immediate attention. So anybody have any questions about doing that? Good.
Nope.
All right. Moving on, then we'll go to item B under administration. Ordinance amending the Title VI Physical Environment, Chapter 3 Utilities, Water System Rental Shutoff. And this is the second reading of this ordinance.
We had
We'll need
sorry,
Silence
at the
is
last
no
meeting, we had-
questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Marcy and I looked at this and she did move some language to a different part of the ordinance, so it makes more sense.
Okay.
Hopefully you got an opportunity to look at that. That doesn't change the fact that we're looking at the second reading. So if you
Right,
have any
the last
questions,
meeting. I'm sorry.
you're
Yeah,
fine.
the last meeting you guys said, let's go ahead and make these changes so that it makes more sense as far as the wording of it. And so when I went back through it, it specifically talks about the meters and the placement of the meters. And so then I added language about the placement of all meters, including those in a rental unit. So. Yep.
And you
It just
haven't had
makes
any
better
more,
sense.
you haven't had any more questions from anyone?
Nope.
Okay. So we'll need a motion to approve the second reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading.
Go ahead, John.
Is that Justin or John who wants the first one?
John can have the first one. I'll
Okay,
second.
okay, thank you.
Zoom is fun.
Yeah.
Everybody's stepping on each other.
All right, then we change a roll call vote. Or just a vote.
John, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, I.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Moving on to item C, public hearing for fiscal year 24 budget amendment. We'll open the public hearing to that for now.
Marcy, is there
Marcy?
anybody online?
Thank you.
Check again. Nope, I don't see anybody else.
All right, with no one online, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing for fiscal year 24 budget amendment. Item D, resolution approving fiscal year 24 budget amendment.
All of these items we went through on our work session, so everybody should be aware of what we're amending.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution approving FY 24 budget amendment.
Thank you, Justin.
John seconds.
Jeff, I.
John, I.
Justin, I.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Moving on, item E, resolution approving purchase of real estate. This is the strip of property off of Tennis Lane that we discussed purchasing from Spiegel Realty.
And Jeff, to kind of bring you up to speed, this is like the driveway that goes into PD. So the driveway that was from Peosta
Well, this is
Street.
from Steffens. Sorry.
Right,
Okay.
yes,
I said Spiegel. It's Steffens.
yeah. But anyway, this is the new driveway for PD.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving purchase of real estate. That was John.
Thank you.
Justin, second.
John, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, I.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Item F, we will have a public hearing for the sale of real estate on Thunder Valley to Darkbird, next to Darkbird. Anyone online at this point?
Nope.
All right, we will close the public hearing for the sale of real estate. Move on to item G, the resolution approving purchase agreement between the City of Peosta and Thunder Valley LLC. Anyone have a, Jeff, are you up to speed on this one?
Yeah, we talked about this at the work session.
Okay. Anyone have any questions at this time that from what we've talked about in the past?
Nope.
All right, then we'll need a motion to approve.
That'll make a motion to approve the purchase agreement between the city and Thunder Valley LLC, Dartford.
I'll second that.
John first, Jeff second.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Justin abstain due to working for Jeff's survey company.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Moving on, resolution approving Peosta Community Center City Hall Improvement Project Pay Estimate Order number 7 submitted by Tricon. Any questions on this? Anything we need to know, Annette, that's on here?
No, there's not anything out of the ordinary on this.
Okay.
Are they
Did Dean,
done?
Casey, and you guys take a look at this? Everything looks right?
Yes, and what they're doing right now is they're just, they're mudding around the bulletproof glass in Shandy's area. The painters have been called back to fix and do the touch-ups in the council chambers, Shandy's office, the hallways. I believe that we're like 99.9, well, 99.5% done. There's always going to be some other things that I'm gonna have to bring them back in, but a majority, like I said, 99.5, we're done. We're in good shape.
So will this close out, even though like I'm just looking through and seeing the landscaping, obviously is not going to be done till spring, but will we close that out before then, or?
No,
Is that
that's
all?
gonna be, yeah, that's gonna kind of like be the turn lane project. They're just gonna have to come back and finish it when weather permits.
Okay.
When I say 99.5, I'm thinking of the internal
Sure, understood.
remodel. Okay.
No other questions? Need a motion to approve?
Justin, make a motion to approve pay estimate order number 7 for the Peosta Community Center and City Hall Improvement Project.
John, a second. John, I.
Justin, I.
Jeff, I.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Item I, resolution approving Peosta Community Center City Hall Improvement Project change order number 8 submitted by Tricon Construction.
I went over these with Jacob Lucas and they're in alignment.
And I think we talked about this too, didn't we? Or
Yes, yep.
okay. And we'll need a motion to approve, please.
Is everybody being
I'll
shy?
make a mo- John, I'll make a motion to approve change order number 8 submitted by Tricon Construction.
Jeff will
Justin.
second.
Justin, I.
John, I.
Jeff, I.
Lexi, I.
Motion carries. Any other business on to bring up?
I have
Marcy,
something, Mayor.
Okay, go ahead.
PEDC is having a meeting tomorrow morning at 7:30. I'm still not sure if that's going to solidify, as NICC may cancel classes. So anybody that is planning on attending that, stay tuned. I'll try to send out a text early in the morning to let you know. Also, the plow crews, Dean's going to pull everybody off at 8 o'clock. I did ask him to try to keep somebody here until at least 10 and start to stagger the staff coming back in so that we don't have anybody complaining about not having their street plowed at 3:30 in the morning. So it's been a rough day for these guys. They've all clocked in at 3 o'clock this morning, and we're in their trucks at 3:45 nonstop. So they've been working their tails off for sure. And then we have another storm slated for Friday, I believe,
Yeah,
with another 3 to 5 inches.
I heard 8 to 10.
Well, I'm going to be.
I like your number better, but
So I'm probably going to change the snow emergency from ending tomorrow at 3 o'clock just into Saturday.
good idea.
Yep, just to be on the safe side. And that's all I
Yeah.
have.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss?
I just want to welcome Jeff, especially to a crazy start.
Thank you.
Is there a meeting that's not crazy, John?
Yeah, some days.
Some days. Oh, that 5-minute meeting you didn't want to go to.
Yeah.
That's right. Marcy, has anyone joined us that might want to open up anything on citizen comment?
Nope.
All right, then I'll need a motion to adjourn.
John, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Justin second. Justin,
John,
I.
Jeff, I.
Lexi,
All right, passes. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Stay safe.
thank you.
Aye.